Return to Indrani on some of the deeper stuff. What were a few surprises for you in terms of particularly positive surprises on this? And then what were some of the things that were really left out? I think in some ways there were a lot of issues that were really notable by the absence of being discussed.
Yeah, thanks, Dhruva. I would say the sharpest language was reserved for terrorism in Pakistan. It was sharper than what we have seen in joint statements with the US in the past few years. And just the description of Pakistan as a safe haven or a sanctuary for terror was new. It showed to my mind the direction that the policy review that is currently underway in Washington on Pakistan and Afghanistan, that might be heading, the direction that might be heading. We already got a bit of a flavor of that when the Defense Secretary General Mattis and Rex Tillerson spoke in Australia. They were unusually clear of what they wanted to, how they wanted to see the policy in that region go. And I suspect, and I think this is a piece of that larger policy that might be unfolding in Washington in the coming days or weeks. So yes, that was one. The designation of Syed Salahuddin as a global terrorist was very important from the Indian point of view. Although Hizbul Mujahideen as a group had been designated terror group over a decade ago, I think. But Salahuddin was not, and that I think naming him as a foreign terrorist was an important signal, and it has implications for the larger Kashmir narrative here. The new consultation mechanism for the listing of proposals to designate people as terrorists, I think is important if you want the two countries to be on the same page on global terrorism. I think the US has a similar program with Saudi Arabia because they do coordinate listings of terrorists, and I think that might something of that nature might happen with India. So that would be interesting. That is new. The other thing that I thought was interesting and new was the paragraph on OBOR, which almost sort of copy-pasted the Indian position of the statement of 14th of May. And so that was interesting in the context of the US's outreach to China, or sort of reversal of the big problems that had been created on the China front with Donald Trump. And so that was interesting. What it might also mean is another flip in the US approach to China. And I think we are seeing reports coming out of Washington about a new hardening of positions on China, courtesy, I think, led by the problems on the North Korean front. What was left out, what was interesting for me was the fact that in all these years, the India-US relationship has always been looked at in the context of the transformation of India itself. It took a certain sort of position during the Manmohan Singh years, and Manmohan Singh used to talk of the US relationship as a transformational relationship. That was carried over to Narendra Modi when he came in, and he too looked at the US relationship as a transformational relationship. And if you look at the joint statements over the last two and a half years, they were focused very deeply on the projects that are dear to the Prime Minister's heart. The smart cities, the education, the healthcare, etc. All of that is gone. This statement is completely shorn of all of that, and I think it is, and I think that is interesting, and it is interesting from the point of view of India's own policies and the US's approach to a lot of these things. We also don't see, as you mentioned, the DTTI. We do see the sale of drones, but we don't see the DTTI. So clearly there is a nuanced shift in the US position. And of course, climate change doesn't exist anymore, and I think, but I think they too have moved a little bit. They've also nuanced their position. The joint statement does talk about clean coal, which has made a comeback after more than 10 years into a US-India written statement. So clean coal is there, and gas sales are there, and gas exports are there. So more energy so more energy exports, less let's worry about the planet. So those are so the tone also was an interesting one, because it talked more about making our people prosperous, giving jobs to our people, rather than let's make the planet great again. So so on both sides. So those were interesting nuances.
A quick follow-up on one thing again that was not mentioned and hasn't been mentioned since Trump's election is the joint strategic vision with India in 2015. But yet, a lot of the content from the joint strategic vision and the tone and tenor and thrust of it is really reflected in this latest joint statement. So how much of it, I mean, I guess the question I have for you is, how much do you think the spirit of the joint strategic vision has lived on, and is it really more because it is an association with Obama that's no longer included in the US-India context?
Yeah, well, I think that joint vision statement of 2015, I think that has been preserved. Even if it doesn't mention it by name, because if you look at that big chunk on maritime security cooperation, and if you just add up the pieces, which is the surveillance, drones, the maritime security, Indian Ocean, etc., Malabar, IONS, the US as an observer in IONS. If you piece all of that together, it actually preserves the entire strategic vision statement of 2015.